astronauts, this is Brandy and welcome back to Astro Tarot Research. If you're viewing this now, I'm probably out of the country. I'm trying to film as many pick-a cards as possible because when I get back, I gotta hit the ground running. I start a new job, I got a bunch more responsibilities, and I don't want you astronauts to think that I forgot about you and I just disappeared again. No, never that. I am just busy, okay? So today's reading is how does social media affect your reputation? We have 5 piles to choose from, but before we get into these piles, I do want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram or TikTok if you want to know more about me or if you're just interested in astrology. Now, let us get into these piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey, pile number 1, let's get into your reading. We have the 5 of coins, the Page of coins, the Knight of wands, the Emperor, and this Shaka. So this is interesting. So how your social media is affecting you. So right off the bat, it's interesting because we have the 5 of coins, and you know, if we take this to be very literal, the 5 of swords coins can be like a place of lack. It can represent things that aren't necessarily the most pleasant experiences, but I don't want to lead with that. So let's start with the positives with the 5 of coins and what it represents. So the 5 of coins can just represent being someone who is a bit of an outsider, a bit of somebody who does things differently, someone who is outside the realms of society. And that is also being highlighted once again with the nakshatra of Vishaka. When we see Vishaka people, people like Lisa Bonet, people like Rachel True, you have people who tend to be a little bit more alternative. Vishaka can represent alternative fashion, alternative styles, alternative personalities. You can almost get like a lot of bohemian nature to Vishaka people, or even just, you know, generally alternative styles. And that's just Jupiterian people in general, but we're focusing more so on Vishaka. And so that is the image that your social media is bringing to you. So maybe you have a very like professional presence or in real life, and then on social media you act a different way, because Vishaka also is connected to duality. I want to make that clear. Vishaka people can be very much like, okay, in person I'm so shy, and then on social media I come out with this very alt personality, this very much like, oh, I'm not mainstream. I'm not somebody who's typical. I'm not someone you can put into a box. I do my own thing. You can't put any constraints on me. And that's something that social media is doing for your reputation. It's having you being recognized for the individual that you are. Somebody who is looking towards the areas of society which are not receiving as much attention, or can be perceived as being, you know, sometimes otherworldly, because Vishaka has this element of magic to it, this element that has to do with tarot, astrology, spiritualism, psychicness. You know, you can even see that with Vishaka characters. Like I said, Rachel True starred in The Craft. You have Raven Baxter, who played obviously the famous role of her being psychic. That's So Raven, right? And other roles, I believe, gosh, well, I can't remember her name, Eve's Bayou, and she played the psychic in that show. She's a famous actress too. So I'm just bad with names, but you see the elements, what I'm talking about, things that are not typical to society. So your social media could be filled with some of the things that I just mentioned: meditation, spiritualism, connecting to things that are not material, because the 5 of coins is like, I don't have any material gains. Like, I'm not connected to that sense of stability. I'm not connected to the, I can touch this, smell this, taste this. I'm connected to something beyond. I'm connected to the spiritual realm. I'm working on more so personal growth, inner growth. And that's what social media is bringing about for you. It's showing how you are somebody who is more so focused on the inner world, the inner development, the soul, your spirit. Being someone who has the courage to step outside of the norms and carve your own path for yourself. Another thing that this connection with the 5 of coins and Vishaka is, Vishaka people tend to be a little bit more private and reclusive. You could look at the fact like Lisa Bonet rarely does interviews, Beyonce rarely does interviews. A lot of Vishaka people kind of step away from the media presence. Now, if there's other things in their chart, they may not, but for the most part, they are someone who prioritizes their privacy and their private world and their private life. They don't like to have all of this intuitive energy of outsiders, you know, perceiving them and being all up in their business and being involved in their, you know, everyday life. Like the 5 of coins, if we compare this to like the 10 of coins, 10 of coins is community, 5 of coins would be like lack of community. So it's like someone who is not heavily involved in the outside world, more so looking for places to retreat, looking for places that are away from society, looking for maybe spiritual hubs, looking for people who are like, oh, I'm into psychics, tarot reading, witchcraft, things along the lines of that. It doesn't have to be specifically that. I'm just naming that because, you know, I'm a part of sort of those communities. But so those are the first things that come to mind. But it could be alternative in different ways. I've seen sometimes it's just alternative fashion for Vishaka people. It could be something like, oh, I like to go to flea markets. I like to go to, you know, vintage stores. I like to, you know, do shopping for recycled pieces, things along the lines of that, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to go to a mainstream store and buy my clothes. You're like, okay, no, I'm going to go to like a specialized boutique, or I'm going to go and look at an estate sale or something along the lines of that. It's just carving your way away from the social norms. Another thing with the 5 of coins, you notice how you have on this card the 2 people connecting. You have the woman being her hand kissed by the man. So it shows that what you're valuing here is more so community support. So more so emotional support from the people that you hold dearest to you. So when it comes to how your social media is affecting your reputation, it's showing that you're somebody who cares a lot and cares deeply about close personal relationships, which makes sense because Vishaka is the placement that is connected to Libra in Vedic astrology and Scorpio. And obviously Libra is a placement that has to do with relationships with other people, and Scorpio has to do with basically deep intimacy with your partner, or just generally groups of people or people you meet. So deep, intimate connections with people that you care about. And learning through hardships, learning through going through tough times together. So people see that you value your close personal relationships very deeply. And that is being reflected through your social media. And thus that's how people are perceiving you. But how this may be affecting you could be in a way where, this is where I was talking about earlier with the 5 of coins. It can make you, you know, a little bit more divisive. It can make you a little bit more open towards criticism, because when you go away from the mainstream, you know, you have people looking at you like, you know, what's going on with this person? You know, why are they acting like this? Why are they so different? You know, why are they trying to, you know, carve this different path? And 5 of coins, I'm not going to skirt away from the fact that 5s are connected to conflict, right? So it's almost like because of your social media, it could be to some degree for some of you, I want to be that clear, only for some of you, it could be distancing yourself from your peers or people around you. People could look at your social media and they may feel like, oh, I didn't know that you had this side to you. I didn't know that, you know, you were into these certain things, and I don't really connect to that, or I don't really understand that. And so I might be scared, or I might be too judgmental to really get to know you, or something along the lines of that. Or even people may feel like sometimes if you're doing very well, or if you're very confident within yourself, which we have the Emperor here, which does show an element of confidence, they may feel like, oh, this person may be a little bit intimidating. I'm not really even sure if I want to be connected to this person. So it could be causing people to view you in a light that they may feel like, oh, this person goes against my values, and I'm not sure if I want to connect with them. So that's something that could possibly not be as favorable, but that's okay, because, you know, the people who are meant for you are the people who are meant for you. You don't have to be well liked for everyone. Excuse me, guys. I just saw a spider, so I'm going to take that as a sign that I had to get rid of it. That's probably the reaction. And that's funny. That's probably like a sign. I love how it said you may not be liked by everyone. And then I see a spider, which I don't like, and I get rid of. So that could possibly be like the reaction that some people are having because of your social media, where they're just like, oh, I don't really like this so and so and so. And that's their attitude. It doesn't matter. That's some of you, right? Where was I going with this? Yeah, learning from experiences, learning from hardships, and people will see the hardships that you may be going through, or maybe you even talked about your hardships through social media. Now, the Page of Coins is something that's a card that I always get when they're interested about learning things, trying new things, engaging yourself in different aspects, and certainly things like, I might get the Page of Coins to say, oh, I listened to a new song today. Or, oh, I tried a new dish. Or, you know, I tried a different hairstyle. I definitely got the Page of Coins one time to represent, you know, how I would feel about a new hairstyle, which was like, you know, I was a little shy at first, but then I came into my own and I built a little bit confident, felt a little bit more secure, right? Because the Page of Coins is like, okay, I'm building that confidence. I'm going with the flow. I'm getting into it. I'm trying something new, which goes into another theme of Vishaka when it comes to transformation. You'll see so many Vishaka people having to go through different makeovers and transformations and changing their look and putting on this like alternative personality to, you know, gain that confidence or something along the lines of that, or even just because they want to experiment and try something different. But it really represents having the courage to undergo personal growth and wanting to experiment and learn yourself, which I constantly see when I see this Vishaka energy, where Vishaka people tend to always try to look deeper and try to learn and understand their true self. So how the social media is affecting your reputation is people are seeing aspects of your personality slowly grow, and they feel like you're coming into your own and slowly developing into almost like this emperor-like energy, somebody who's completely confident in control of who they are and their destiny. And people are seeing that, and they're seeing the growth process, and they're curious about it. There is a sense of curiosity when it comes to this placement here, because it's like, yeah, some people won't be into it, but for the most part, other people are just like, okay, I'm engaging, I'm learning, I'm seeing that this person is developing and growing and trying new things and being very engaging and talking to different people. And one thing I want to say is that we have like 3 cards representing people here. And so it lets me know that your social media is allowing you to build the type of communities that you want to build. Now, it may not be like a huge community, but, or just maybe a big community of people who can be a little bit less mainstream and more alternative. But that being said, is that it's building you a reputation within a community, which may be a niche. And so people are seeing that, and it's affecting your reputation in a way where it's allowing you to be yourself around people who can really appreciate you. It also can be like, when it comes to this energy with the Emperor here and Vishaka, one thing that these two have in common is the intellect and the ability to strategize. So you come off as a very intellectual individual, very much a free thinker, someone who cannot be confined to any rules. You're making decisions for yourself on how you want to view things, on how you want to approach situations, and on how you want to navigate your world and your reality. You're very much so someone who is highly individualized, and you're not going to allow anyone to take your power away. There is this strong element when it comes to ambition and making sure that you are expressive, but I don't think you're purposely trying to be divisive. It's more so you're being assured in trying to be assured in who you are. That's who you are. You're like, I am sure of myself, or you're learning to be you're learning to be secure within yourself, and people can see that sense of power within you. They can see that you have some strong opinions. They can see that you have your own fresh perspective, because, you know, these cards are young, so it's like something new, something fresh. And honestly, I think a lot of the times that people may see that you're someone who can be very curated when it comes to your social media, because the Emperor is a card of control and structure. So someone who is going to take charge, take leadership, and take ownership of their actions. So there's an element of accountability. So now people are viewing you as somebody who is accountable for their actions, who is strong in who they are, or like I said, growing into who they are and learning to be strong and confident with themselves. They're seeing you as somebody who can be brave. So if you come across very shy, very timid in person, or very much more laid back, because Vishaka can be more laid back type of energy, on social media you have a more powerful presence. So they're now experiencing your inner power. They're now experiencing your intellect. They're now experiencing your unique perspective, your strong will. They have strong will on the card. They're now experiencing just how brave you can be when it comes, and bold you can be when it comes to showing your interests, vocalizing your interests, spreading your ideas, or sharing what you're into. They see the element of creativity, especially with the Knight of Wands representing creativity. And Vishaka itself can be very creative because, like I said, they are free thinkers. And somebody who is willing to sort of like embrace change. The one thing I love about these three cards is they all connect to courage. So people are viewing you as a courageous person, and that's affecting your reputation through your social media. They're now seeing you more as being very courageous for putting yourself out there. They're like, oh, wow, you know, you're very unique, you're very different, and you're not shying away from it. In fact, you're embracing it. You're being someone that is unafraid to, you know, take off the mask, or being unafraid to be vocal about what you think, and unafraid to, you know, like, you're not afraid to address the haters, address the people who can be critical, address the people who just don't, you know, get your flow, get your message, get your vibe. You're just like, I'm not afraid to have conversations. I'm not afraid to call people out. I'm going to be assured in who I am, and I'm going to keep pursuing whatever goals that you're trying to pursue. And you definitely have some goals here with these cards, and some big goals, especially with the Emperor energy. So now people are seeing more of the bigger picture of you. They're starting to see that you're very ambitious. They're starting to see that you're very goal oriented. They're starting to see that you have these strong leadership qualities within you. They're starting to see how open-minded you are when it comes to expressing yourself, creativity, or even looking at other people's creativity and seeing what they have to express and what they have to say. They're understanding you're someone who's not afraid of a challenge. You're like, I welcome a challenge. I can take this on. I've got this. They see you as somebody who can often be very like youthful and vibrant and imaginative and very encouraging. That's a great one, especially with the Knight of Wands and Vishaka. Two of those energies. What's the best way I can put this? It's like they tend to be known for trying to bring about the best in people, for trying to add a positive twist on things, to try to say, hey, don't think negative. Don't go into a situation expecting the worst. You know, expect the worst and then, you know, expect the best and then, you know, prepare for the worst. But don't go in with a negative attitude. It's all about changing your perspective so that you don't have this victim mentality. So you don't go in with negative thinking patterns. So you don't go into a situation, you know, with conflict in mind. So you don't come off standoffish, so that you're open-minded. And so people are seeing your open-mindedness. They're seeing your positivity. They're seeing that you're someone who is going to be very, very like a emotionally mature presence, I think. Just a very emotionally mature person and a very deep person. There's definitely an element of mystery to your character with Vishaka here. And there's also this element when it comes to, I guess, being a leader in your lane. So I don't know what it is that you do on social media, but whatever you're doing is very unique and very different. And it makes you stand out more. Okay, this could be you, you know, doing a stop motion film, but you're doing it in a unique way. And it's almost like you're a leader in that avenue. You know, people do so many different things in social media. Maybe you vlog in a particular way. Maybe you, I'm trying to think of different categories. Maybe you do reaction videos in a different way. Maybe you just post on Instagram and you have your own unique flair and unique style. And they're just like, oh, wow, you're bold with your style. You're bold with how you dress. You know, you're bold with how you present yourself. It reminds me of the story of like the Emperor's new clothes, right? So they're like, whoa, this person is like really being out there. I mean, the moral of the story is a little different, but the whole point I'm trying to say is that you're bold in your presentation. One thing that I see is people are starting to see through your social media is that you are someone who is very independent and very much value your self-expression. Like I said, you don't care about breaking away from conventional norms. You have a very like adventurous spirit. You're willing to explore new ideas. You are willing to take on new perspectives. You have the strong creative juices. You're somebody who expresses yourself creatively. You have like an engaging and thought-provoking social media presence. Like you go deep, okay? You're someone who definitely goes deep. And also with Vishaka, as I was talking about the element of like psychicness, spirituality, meditation, it's like you let messages come through you and flow through you in a very natural way. Like you are open to receiving the messages from the universe, which allows an element of mystery, allows you to connect deeply. That's what the Five of Coins and Vishaka definitely have in common, that element of like spirituality and connecting deeply and going within. Trying to think if there's anything else I may have forgotten about this. I think also on social media, it's quite possible that people are now perceiving, they may be perceiving you to be a lot younger than you are, or maybe even just you have like a young spirit, because when we have this young card tier of this page of coins and this Knight of Wands, and then followed by the Emperor, it's just like, oh, I thought you were this age, but you know, you're actually a lot older than I thought you were, which is something that a lot of Vishaka people will hear a lot, that, you know, that they look a lot younger, or they like age very well. I hear that a lot for Vishaka people. And trying to think, there was one thing. Oh, right. This is important. You may even be known because of your social media through your relationships. So a lot of things with Vishaka, because it is located in the sign of Libra, and like I said, with Scorpio having to do with intimacy through relationships, a lot of Vishaka people are known for their relationships. So you, through your social media, your reputation may be affected by your relationships, or people may know you from your relationships on social media. They may be like, oh, that's the person who's with so-and-so, or that's the blank and blank couple, or I know them, they have that 40-year-long marriage. I know them, they went through a breakup. I know them because that's that guy who dated that other guy. That's that girl dated the other girl. That's that girl dated the other guy, whatever the case may be. But they get known through their relationships and their partnerships. Like, just think about Jay-Z and Beyonce, you know, and then you could look at Alfie Woodard. The first thing, if you search her, I'm sure her husband comes up. Like, if you search a Vishaka person, generally their spouse will come up. Will Smith, Vishaka placement, and Jada Smith pops up. Like, they get known for their relationships. So your reputation can change through social media, because now people start knowing you through your partner and who you choose to be with. Or if you're unpartnered, people know you for your social like your single status. They're like, oh, that's the girl who's like always single. That's the guy who's always single, right? You know what I mean? I don't know what it is about Vishaka, but people get really caught up in who they are with, and who they're paired with, who they're partner with, or who they're not partner with, or how they're always looking for a relationship or something along the lines of that. They're like, oh, this person is known for going on all of those bad dates, or all of those great dates, or something like that. But you get known for being single, or whoever your partner is with, through this placement. And that definitely has an impact on your relationship. So people are just like, oh, like I said before, that's the person who's, you know, single or in this type of relationship. And that's important to note. And it just affects your relationship, because now people are viewing either you as a pair, or they're viewing you as like that person who is single. Or, you know, it could be single and loving it, or it could be single and not liking it. But now people know you for those things. I mean, it could go either way. But something I do want to say is there's an element of charisma, an element of quirkiness. Like I mentioned, the individuality, the dual nature, like very much so, like flexible, changeable, different, looking to create your own avenue, being aware and intelligent, being in control of things, making sure that you are presenting yourself in the image that you want to be presenting yourself in. And I think for the most part, you connect with a certain group of people. And this group of people really, really love you, really connect with you. They love what you do. They're like, this is amazing. Keep making content. You are so open. You are somebody who is so strong. You're somebody who really carries yourself, and you really bring me courage, and you really bring me confidence. So you're very known for being like uplifting towards other people and their confidence, and allowing them to be their true authentic selves as well. So that is what I have for you, pal number one. That is how your social media is affecting your reputation. Overall, you're seeing it as such a strong, energetic individual who is bold and has such a strong presence, and you just live in your truth, man. You live in your truth. So I hope you like the reading. If not, feel free to choose another pal, or maybe I'm not the reader for you, you know, whatever the case may be, but au revoir for now. Hey, pal number 3, let's get started on your reading and how social media affects your reputation. We have the 3 of Wands, the Queen of Cups, the Chariot, the Ace of Pentacles, and Puvra Ashada. All right. Let us get into this. So with the 3 of Wands here, we can see that you're definitely somebody who is creative, who likes to do their own thing. I often get the 3 of Wands to represent somebody who can be very experimental when it comes to how they express themselves and differentiate themselves from other people. And so there's something about you on social media, like, that people they feel is just very unique to you and what you like to present in the world. So I guess your social media is adding an element of uniqueness to your personality. It's allowing you to come across very multifaceted. And I think that does add a layer of relatability when it comes to you and who you are. Because they see that you're someone who is building towards something that is uniquely you. People feel like, okay, this person has an element of courage to them. And people are viewing you to be, what's the word I want to give? Multifaceted. And so it's just making you, it's just basically adding a deeper layer to your personality. So they see your social media and they're like, oh, okay, this is a little bit different than what I was expecting, and I do like this person's ambition, and I can sort of see their vision and what they're trying to achieve. Now, maybe you just post on social media for fun, but whatever the case may be, people feel like it's possible that you could even make a living off of it if you haven't already started trying to make a living, or at least use it as to supplement income, whatever the case may be. But people feel like this can really grow into something big. One thing that we see here when we have this Queen of Wands sort of like in the reverse position is that this can also mean that you, through your social media, can come across as someone who possibly doesn't want to focus on like reacting to other people's content. The Queen of Cups is usually someone, at least in this reverse position, is usually someone who's concerned with their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own emotions. And so through social media, they feel like you're uniquely just expressing your point of view and your perspective. You're not doing stitches. You're not doing reactions. You're just bringing your own inner creativity to life. And that you're navigating through your intuitiveness on how you want to present yourself. Like, you're creating something fresh, you're creating something different, you're creating something new, and it's solely without the influence of other people. It's very much so unique to you. I think because of this, you are coming off as a distinct persona, a distinct person. And I'll be honest, like, sometimes with the Queen of Cups reverse, it can also represent someone who has gone through emotional disturbances, or even like you may even currently be going through a tough time, because the Queen of Cups has a lot of hard emotions to deal with when she's in this reverse position. She has a lot on her mind, a lot to tackle, a lot to take on, and a lot to overcome. So it can make you come across as someone who is undergoing some emotional challenges or mental challenges, mental hurdles, and you're being open about it So that could also be refreshing to people. People may feel like, oh wow, you're on your own personal journey. You're showing your growth. You're showing your development. You're showing that you can go through these tough times. You can go through these wild moments. You can go through these challenges and you can come out victorious and on top. Definitely with the Chariot here, it shows that you're someone who is not afraid to take on challenges, not afraid to go after what you want, not afraid to follow your passions, even if it means that it may be sometimes emotionally difficult for you. I feel like there's an element of your social media which involves you being open about personal relationships and having to even undergo those challenges. You know, those people who may talk about, you know, certain breakups, certain friendships. You always hear those stories about the Miami breakup friendship stories and things along the lines of that. It's possible that you are talking about your own personal life and things that you've experienced that may have been a little bit out of your control and something that you may not have wanted to encounter, but you dealt with it and you've overcame it and you're better for it and you're going in a different direction. Excuse me, pal. Number 4, I'm having so many disruptions, which honestly, I have a feeling that's a similar vibe of your social media and how it's affecting your reputation. People are showing, it's showing people how you manage to navigate situations that can be disruptive and that can interfere with the planned timeline. It's showing your resilience. It's showing that even if you have a plan, a focus, a goal, and things go awry, that you're someone who can bounce back, move forward, and keep going and be successful. That you're not afraid to redirect and go in a different direction. Ultimately, social media is contributing to your reputation in a positive manner because it's showing your natural ability to be very flexible and changeable. And also, I feel like it's showcasing how you personally will nurture your creative pursuits. And so there's this side of you that people are seeing as being a visionary, as I mentioned before. And I think it's allowing others who are like-minded to you to be more attracted to you and to build a community where you are sharing similar values, which is this Ace of Pentacles here as well. I think people see you as potentially very inspirational with this Chariot energy and even Purvashada, that you are influencing the minds of others and allowing for them to see matters through your perspective and through your lens. And a good example of this is there's this Purvashada person who used to make videos when it came to like femininity archetypes. And so they would categorize the feminine archetypes, you know, something like the maiden, or maybe like siren, or I can't remember all the archetypes here, huntress, things along the lines of that. And so they put things in these different character categories in relation to femininity and the expression of femininity and what it's there for. And so it's almost like it's possible through your social media, you are presenting information in a system in which people can digest and understand, and allows them to elevate and educate and use practically within their own lives, however they so choose. It is likely that people are sharing your vision, they're understanding it, and they are welcome to the information that you have to share. You know, that is, if you have something like that where maybe you do video essays, maybe you're someone who talks about clothing and fashion, and you're giving your perspective on different designers, different style choices. This is what you wear in the summer. This lipstick is like this lip liner is like this, like, etc. You're putting things into categorizing, you're explaining things, you're going into detail, and you are providing your unique perspective and vision on how you see social structures as well as things that may be material. And now this may not be for everyone. Like I said, some of you may just, like, you know, post you know, just stories on Instagram or something like that. But if you're someone who posts stories on Instagram, it's almost like they're saying through your stories, they're seeing the world through your eyes and your unique perspective. And it's allowing them to reflect on their own values and how they perceive the world in relation to how you're perceiving the world. It gives a very good juxtaposition for them, which is like engaging their intellect and allowing them to grow. Because we have to keep in mind, Purvarashada is in the sign of Sagittarius, which has to do with higher education and knowledge. And thus, you're going to have this philosophical view as to how you approach things, or how the comments you make, the activities you do, the way you interact with life. People feel it's giving them a broader perspective. It could just be that, you know, maybe you travel a lot because, you know, Purvarashada is connected to Sagittarius. We got the Chariot card here representing 2 travel cards. Maybe you're just someone who interacts with a lot of different cultures. Maybe you like to try out a lot of different cultural attributes, such as different garments, foods. You know, it could be like, okay, I got this silk from China. Like, people see that you come across very like a worldly person, and it's introducing them to new factors, introducing them to new ways of life and new ways of being. They also see that you're someone who is likely to value material luxuries, someone who is likely to wanting to be provided with the finest things in life, someone who is seeking to immerse themselves completely, not completely, but immerse themselves in the material world and enjoy all of the luxuries that life has to offer, whether that be, you know, nice clothing, nice perfume, nice cologne, a lot of different various aspects. I remember one time I had a Purvarashada boss, and for his birthday, he like flew out a designer to design him a suit, and it was like a designer Gucci suit specifically for him. Like, he got like a table or something at like a bar, like rented a hotel. It was like a whole thing. So really immersing yourself in the finer things in life. So people may see your social media as being very like classy, or being very much like into luxury, into the finer things. And so it's giving a very, I guess you could say, bougie image to your reputation, a very much like high class image, very much material oriented. None of these things are, you know, good or bad. They're just what they are, right? Another thing with Purvarashada, as I was saying before, there's a strong element when it comes to ambition, especially with the Chariot and Purvarashada there. People see you as somebody who's going to ensure that they have a strong element of stability. Someone who always has a backup plan. Someone who sticks to their vision, but also someone who needs to follow their passion. There is a strong understanding that people see when they look at your social media, that you are a passionate person, that you're someone who needs to express themselves. You're someone who needs to live by their values. You're somebody who needs to be able to shine and be your true self. Obviously, you do need an element of stability, you know, because sometimes when you follow your passions, you may not have that stability element. But with you, it's like, no, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the work that I find passion in, and that that can also provide me with a sense of stability, something with a sense of fulfillment, something that I can really sink my teeth into. And so people are almost in awe of your ability to be creative and make a living off of it, because not everyone gets to do what they love, but they feel like through your social media, you either get to do what you love, or, you know, you're creating an avenue to get to do what you love. And that you are engaging with activities that you believe are worth fighting for, are worth engaging with. They don't see you as someone who is willing to put in time and effort just for, you know, the money, which, like I said, there's no judgment there if you are. But they see you as somebody who has to put in time and effort to something you're passionate in. And because you are working so hard in something you're passionate in, the money will follow. So that's how they're viewing you through social media. Like I said, they may feel like you're open about maybe specific challenges that you may have faced in relationships, whether that's, you know, romantic or non-romantic. And they just see you in that light as somebody overcoming those matters. They also see you as somebody who is, I guess, gaining wisdom from what you have learned before. Especially with the Queen of Wands reverse. This is somebody who is in deep reflection when it comes to their past actions. And you can see she's looking at the Chariot when she's reversed. She's thinking about how her past can be utilized to help her grow in the future. Emotionally, materially, whatever the case may be, people see that you are someone who learns from, you know, past mistakes or even the mistakes of others, because the Three of Wands can represent groups. So you may not need to go through the hard lessons yourself all the time. You can look at others people's behaviors and say, I don't want to be in that predicament, so I'm going to move differently. We definitely have a optimistic attitude when it comes to Purva Ashada, because it's about ensuring that you are caring for yourself and that you're taking care of yourself. And I'll be honest, Purva Ashada can be a placement sometimes that can be known as being selfish sometimes. This does not apply to all of you. I don't want anyone to be like, I'm not selfish. Like, okay, that doesn't apply to you, right? But sometimes it's known for being selfish and a little self-absorbed. I'm going to say in this case, it's more so like you're taking care of yourself and you're ensuring that your needs get met. And people can see that you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying your life through social media. And they see that you're someone who's ensuring that you reach your goals, that you're able to have the finer things, that you're able to make sure that you are experiencing all the joys that life has to offer. I love how it even says joy on the card. Joy, exuberant, just do it, you know, show off. You know, it's showing that you're someone who does want, maybe possibly does wants to show off a little bit. Like show off what you accomplished because you're proud of it. Because you are excited by what it is that you have to offer the world, or what it is that you've achieved. And you're showing people what you have achieved and what that achievement has gotten you. Like, let's say you worked hard at promotion. Maybe you do a little post and you're like, oh, look, I got promoted, and look, I bought this nice watch, right? That same Purva Ashada boss that I had had bought like a Rolex, right? Because he was like, oh, I got this good job. I'm buying this Rolex. Look at this Rolex that I bought, right? So they want to show off their accomplishments and what their accomplishments have gained for them in this life. And that's a good thing, that it shows that your hard work's being put to the test. It can also show that you've been somebody who's been highly educated, because Purvashada people can tend to be highly educated. And one thing it is that I've seen with Purvashada people is that they tend to be good with money. Like I said, they like to assure that they have an element of stability to their character, quite a bit of savings, or even just ensuring that they are good financially so that they don't have to go through a lot of turbulent times most of the time. And for some of you, your social media could be focused more so on your fitness, which may be like why we have the Queen of Cups reversed, because it's like we're not going into the emotional elements. We're focusing more on the physical body, how to look good, how to present yourself, how to come across, as I mentioned before with the femininity, Purvashada person, how to come across feminine, you know, what behaviors to act, how to be comfortable within your aura. You can see that when it comes to, you know, Purvashada people wanting to express, you know, your natural soft skills in that case. And that definitely comes through when it comes to how you are being presented on social media. People are seeing this side of you that is so ambitious, so ingrained in this soft lifestyle, this enjoyment, this fulfillment, this almost carefree. I'm not going to say completely carefree because the Three of Cups is reversed, but almost carefree nature, ensuring that, you know, you're getting what you deserve. You're ensuring that you are somebody who is making sure that you are living the comfortable life that you want. This can also be, you know, as I stated before, talking about how maybe in the past it's possible that you may have felt that you've had interactions with people who didn't really value you in the way that you deserve to be valued. And so now you're showing the world through social media how you wish to be treated, or how you treat yourself, or how you've grown from those instances, and showing them that, hey, this is me. I'm this strong individual. I've been in these situations where things haven't been ideal. I've dealt with people who weren't exactly the best fit for me. And now I'm in a better place where I'm getting the things that I want, where I'm channeling my inner strength so that I can live my life in a peaceful and happy manner. And I'm not someone who is, you know, afraid to put myself out there anymore, especially with the Chariot. You're like, I'm not afraid of any drama. I've been through that, been there, done that. I've had those interactions, and it doesn't matter. So people see that personal growth. They see that you have gone through maybe awkward moments with people, not ideal situations with people, and that you're stronger for it. It's also about like having an element of class to you. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Like, people feel your social media affects your reputation because it gives you an element of class. Like, almost every Purvashada person I see through social media, at least the ones that I've come across, they look good. They pay attention to their presentation. They pay attention to their speech. They come across very media trained. They come across as very educated, smart, classy individuals, very articulate in their speech. They're someone who's going to, you know, shuffle around the negativity. They're going to be quick on their feet. They're going to avoid the shadiness. They're going to avoid the drama. They're going to come across unbothered. Honestly, they're just going to focus so much on their own success. They're not even going to be bothered with any sort of weird drama. So that's how people are viewing you. They're viewing you as somebody who is stepping away from any sort of dramatics, any sort of negativity, any sort of hateration. You're like, I'm not going to bother with that. But don't get me wrong, with this energy here, you are fierce and you will call somebody out if you need to. But for the most part, you don't feel pressed to even entertain that. You don't feel pressed to even engage with someone who you feel like is just in a negative headspace and they need to deal with their own issues. You're like, I'm in a good place, or I'm trying to achieve and be in a good place, so I'm not going to bother with that. You come across, like I said, you have a very positive energy, a very focused mindset, and your social media is showing all of that. Especially the creativity. The creativity is so strong within you. Very bright, that shines very bright. Whatever it is that you're bringing, your uniqueness to your social media presence, this aspect of your personality that people may not get to see in person, people are loving it. And they feel like it's very relatable and it's making you glow. People think, wow, you just seem so excited, so elated, or so positive through your social media. And that's how it's affecting your reputation in that way. You are concerned with yourself and yourself only, and you're not dealing with any nonsense. You're cutting that out and saying bye. So that is what I have for you, pal number 3. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 3. I think I called pal number 2 number 3, but hey, pal number 3. Let's get started on how your social media affects your reputation. We have the 6 of coins, the 2 of coins, the Queen of Wands. Can I flip this one? The 4 of Cups and Sastabisha. All right. So the first thing that comes to mind for me right off the bat is people think you are fun and enjoyable, especially when we have the 2 of Coins and the 4 of Cups. Both of these cards center around having enjoyment, celebration, having a good time, keeping things light and enjoyable. And also, Sastabisha is known for its wild sense of humor. Like if you think of Sastabisha people, you think of people like Z-Way, Robin Williams, Dave Chappelle. Like they're known for their wild sense of humor and their ability to make social commentary or just commentary on, it could be just society norms, whatever it is that's on their mind, thought-provoking topics, and manage to make it funny and intelligent at the same time. Very observant placement, as well as very ambitious. So people feel like your social media adds a dynamic to your personality, which people just find you very amusing, very funny, and someone who even more than likely has a positive attitude. I know Ellen DeGeneres believes has Sastabisha placements, and she used to go on about like a positive attitude until, you know, things were uncovered about her show, which weren't ideal. But, you know, for a while, she used to preach positivity, right? And you'll see a lot of Sastabisha people talk about wanting to have more positivity and an uplifting influence in the world. And usually they'll do it in a way that's lighthearted and meaningful. And so people feel like your social media is very lighthearted, meaningful, but also something that, as I mentioned before, can be insightful and thought-provoking. And I love that they have the word eccentric on this, because 100% this is a very eccentric placement. It's all to do with innovation, going towards new. It's a Rahu ruled nakshatra. So it wants to take what's already there and create something different. And I love these little electrifying bolts. I believe Sastabisha is known as like the circle, which is basically known for like, in my experience, from what I've observed, is how they will generally like to keep a tight-knit group of people around them to show the real them, because they have a lot of layers to their personality. And especially with this Two of Coins here, people feel like there's a lot of duality when it comes to who you are as a person. There's several sides to you. Yeah, on one hand, you can be very this fun, easygoing person, very generous, chill, laid back. On the other hand, you can be high energy, very eccentric, very outgoing, very fun, celebratory, like energy that we have here. There's just very dynamic personality is what I am getting at. He will definitely see that you're someone who wants to make a large impact, not just on, you know, not just for your life, but for other people. Because with the Four of Wands here, it's like, hey, I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to be dancing. I want everyone to be celebrating. I want everyone to be in a good mood and have a good time. So people feel that you are looking out for the almost mental well-being of others, or trying to incite passion and happiness in others. And that's something that is shown through your social media. So generally, this is a positive effect of your social media, like how your social media is affecting your reputation is in a positive way. Another thing is, as I was mentioning with the different layers to your personality, such a bitch is kind of known for being very like secretive. I've seen such a bitch people, the way that they'll handle questions, or the way that they will talk about things, write songs, express themselves, can be in a very indirect fashion. They more than likely are not going to be straightforward when it comes to their communicating their true thoughts. So they can be more so, what's the word? Like, I guess politically correct is the best way to say it. But have this sort of like politician way of answering questions or dodging questions, or trying to skate around things. I met a suspicious person one time, and you would ask them a question, and like it could be anything. It could be like, okay, so where are you from? And they'll say, well, my father was born in Vietnam, but he hasn't been back there in a while. And I remember he used to fly planes, and flying planes was one of his hobbies, but I never really got into flying planes. And like they would just go on this random rant of just dodging the question, and you would have to just say, answer the question, yes or no. Very eccentric personality, very out there, obviously doing it purposely, obviously putting on a show. And it was just strange to me. Not really sure why, but that's what I've seen. Now, he was an extreme example, but I have seen such a bunch of people kind of like sort of not want to get into, you know, everyday topics or serious topics or something along the lines of that. It's like, keep it light, keep it funny, keep it interesting, right? Where was I going to go next with this? I forgot. Oh, right. Sustavisha is also known for their ability to generate wealth and finances. That's why it's connected to the 11th house, the house of big money, big gains. If you watch, like, what's that show? One of my favorite shows, Sex and the City. Mr. Big, I believe, is Sustavisha, or some art replacement. But whatever the case is, they're known for generally being like financially wealthy. Like they'll play these characters that make like a lot of money. Generally, Rahu placements will play these type of characters. I actually did a study on like genies, which I guess maybe I could do a short of that. And the placement that was casted the most as being genies was Anuradha, which is a Rahu placement, just like Sustavisha. Sustavisha came up as well. But you'll see them play genies a lot, because they'll seemingly have all this power, all this wealth, but they'll be like trapped, sort of trapped by the perception of others, which is kind of like this circle here. Being trapped by what society wants them to do, or being critiqued by others things along the lines of that. Like if they were to be their free self, more than likely they would receive a lot of criticism. So you could look at the circle as being like this enclosed circle on how they can act and how they can't act within this lifetime. I've seen such that people might be interested in like polyamorous relationships, but they're afraid to get into them because they don't want that to affect their business, or they don't want that to affect their personal relationships. They don't want people to look at them weird. That's another thing that with such Visha, they can be very like socially conscious. Have you seen, what's that scene in Succession, played by Matthew McFadden, where he like points out this woman's large bag, and he's like, you know, what do you think she keeps in there? Like he's like criticizing her bag and whatever the case may be. And that's because he himself is an outsider. And so to position himself as more so powerful, he has to integrate and know the rules. And it's easy for somebody who is an outsider to sort of pick on somebody else who was in their previous position, who may have been unaware of the social norms and the social rules. And they do this to make themselves seem more powerful or feel more powerful and etc. I'm not going to get into that. But that's an aspect of Sastabisha as well. Wanting to blend in, wanting to seem normal. So people may pick up on some eccentric, eccentric elements to your personality. I don't know why eccentric elements was such a tongue twister for me. They may pick up on eccentric elements of your personality that you yourself may want to keep hidden. It's quite possible. I'm just putting that out there. But for the most part, they feel like generally they have a positive view of you when it comes to your social media. They feel like you're using humor to make commentary. Also, as I was going into before, when it came to having a lot of possibly wealth or opportunities to experience things. I don't know what you're doing on your social media. Maybe, you know, you're staying at 5-star hotels. Maybe you're eating at like Mastro's or Maestro's, I believe it's called. I'm not really sure. But really expensive restaurant, or I have to look that up. I'm terrible with pronunciation, if anyone knows me. Yeah, it's Mastro's Steakhouse. Maybe you're eating at Mastro's or something, which is not that expensive. Like, I think it's like in the $100 ranges. But eating at nicer places, going to nicer places, experiencing fun events, wearing like things that are very like expensive, fashionable. Actually, if I look at the Sestabisha people I've seen and followed, most of them wear designer things. Most of them, actually. I'm trying to think of one who doesn't. Wow, okay, I can't. But like, unless they're, you know, but they're usually working on building some sort of wealth and sustainability within their lives. So that's why you're going to get this, you know, you're going to get this sort of like energy of, you know, Mr. Big like energy. So people may look at you like, oh, you got big money, or you're really successful. But another element of your personality that I really want to highlight, which I was trying to get into with the genie part earlier, but before I got distracted, is that you can be very helpful and very generous and very giving. So there's an element of your personality which people are like, oh, wow, this person really gives a lot of their time, their energy, their money, their resources. You're somebody who may even want to empower and educate others, especially when you have this Queen of Wands energy. People feel like you're very charming, you're very magnetic. You are somebody who just naturally has charisma. Someone who is, you know, active, someone who is ambitious, someone who's creative, someone who can be, you know, even physically appealing as well with the Queen of Wands energy, because I generally get that to be someone who is attractive and takes care of their appearance. It's like, oh, hey, I'm a boss. I take care of myself, and also I'm about my business. But those are the things that I see when it comes to that. And also, it's like you are very much so, because both of these cards can represent give and take, and it's more like you can be very active and very engaged with others. Maybe it's possible you are asking people what they think. You're asking people for their opinions. You might be reacting to people. You might be commenting on other people's posts. You might be liking other people's posts, watching their posts, whatever the case may be. But it's showing someone who's very active on social media. And so your perception is like, okay, people feel like you're somebody who's really ingrained and really invested within social media, okay? That's something to keep in mind. It's just very much so like, okay, people feel like you're somebody who is just highly involved in social media, which is not unusual given the world that we live in. A lot of people are involved in social media. Another thing this can represent is that people feel that you are practical and someone who thinks about longevity and how you can extend that for yourself and those that are near you and those that you care about. Even people who you may just see as like friends. Because the Four of Wands is like just general community, and the Two of Wands can represent like close friends. So it's not just your family you're trying to look out for. It's just the people that you hold near and dear to you. But generally people feel like you have a reputation for being supportive. Maybe you're viewing other people's content. Maybe you're sharing their content. Maybe you're commenting under their posts like I said before. Very like balanced energy. Like people feel like you may have like one or two or three different interests with the Two of Coins there. They may feel like you're somebody who is into various things. Maybe you're into fashion and finance. Maybe you're into talking about different eyewear, but then you're also talking about filmography. Maybe you're somebody who's into video games, but then you also like to do voiceovers and animation. Whatever the case may be, you're a very dynamic individual and you're very well-rounded, like this circle here, guys. Like the circle with Sestavisha, you're a very well-rounded person. And I think that comes across also with the Six of Coins, because the Six of Coins is also about balance. So you're not somebody who's just one note. You're not somebody who's just delivering one message, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing if that is you, but this is not you. That's not you at all. Definitely someone who just has a good balance of traits. Also, it could be possible that people, maybe you're even talking about, you know, your job on social media as well, because you have like two pentacles here, and pentacles can be connected to the 10th house and the 6th house of work. So it is possible that you may even be, people feel like you are making a living through social media, or you're talking about your job on social media or something along the lines of that. Whatever the case is, they may feel like, oh, you're making funny commentary about your work, or you're doing some kind of sketch about your work. That's another thing. If I think about it, Sestavisha people are known for like playing characters and putting on disguise. Actually, I just thought about the story of Rahu, which was like they stole the nectar from the gods by dressing as a god. So maybe that's, I mean, the stories come together. Maybe that's why they wear so many disguises and like put on so many costumes and like sketch comedy so much. Whatever the case may be, that's something that I've noticed. Maybe you even do sketches, or maybe you just play different characters, or possibly, like I just mentioned before, you're just talking about various different things, or going multitude of different places. You're not someone who's just like, okay, I'm only going to talk about trucks. You're like, okay, no, I'm going to show up at this art event. I'm going to Art Basel too. I'm into cars and I'm into art, or whatever the case may be, but you come across as very dynamic. Showcasing like you have this very multifaceted personality. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We've already talked about how charming you are, how funny you are, how smart and observant that you are, how sociable that you can be, magnetic. Like, your social media honestly is affecting your reputation in a way that it's attracting more followers to you. So it's attracting more people to you. Your personality gets to come across more. You get to show your opinion. In fact, I think social media is adding a very generally positive presence to your life. People can see more leadership qualities. You come across fun, warm, sociable, highly interactive. People look at your social media and like, oh, I kind of want to be this person's friend. Like, I think this person's really cool. I really like how this person presents themselves. I like that you're so creative. I like that you come across confident. I like that you are, you know, connecting to me, and I find that you are relatable. People find that you are very, very relatable. And so that's generally how your social media is affecting you. I don't know if I can expand upon that. Didn't Whitney Houston have Sister Bisha placements? I'm just thinking out loud, but you know, she was definitely dynamic in character for sure. If she did, I mean, but definitely the girl who played her in the movie had Sister Bisha placements. But very talented. That's important to note. Highly, 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 highly talented. People may look at you and be like, I didn't know you had this talent. Like, I had no clue you were so creative. I had no clue that you were so innovative. I had no clue you were so brilliant. So that's something that I'm getting from this reading. The level of skill that you have, as well as your own personal abilities, really shine through when it comes to your social media. And like I said, it's helping you gain more friends. It's helping you gain more connections. And it's giving a very positive influence to your reputation. So that is what I have for you, pile number 3. I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pile number 4. Let's get into how social media affects your reputation. We have Temperance, 8 of Wands, the Fool, the Chariot, and Ashlesha. Okay. These are some wonderful cards we have here. So when it comes to how social media affects your reputation, I feel like it gives more balance to people's perception of your personality. Maybe they feel like when they see you in person, it's one way. But then when they go to social media, they obviously encounter a different side of you. Social media seems to add some sort of deeper understanding of what it is that you believe and what it is that you will, what you're interested in, what you stand up for, the things that you take deep focus in, if that makes sense. Because Temperance is connected to Sagittarius, which is the 9th house of education, or you could even look at it as deep interest. So if somebody collects rocks and they know a lot about rocks and they have you know, a whole closet full of rocks and all this details about them, that would be something 9th house, because they're taking their interest to like a higher level. Okay, so they get a larger picture of what exactly it is that you invest your knowledge base in, your understanding in. And it brings out a side of you that people may not be familiar with. Because when we have the 8 of Wands, it's almost like there's a million different messages. So maybe you have social media that is very diverse. Maybe you're someone who does cooking videos and you do vlogs and then you do jokes and, you know, then you talk about random stuff, or you do Get Ready With Me. It's like you have our social commentary. It's showing a lot of different layers and interests when it comes to who you are and your personality. And I think people like that because they can see a different side of you, from what I'm understanding. It's good because now Temperance is about coming together, accepting, being tolerant, being understanding, blending well together. You know, I once got Temperance when it came to like a meetup with someone that I had met online, and the meetup went well. Like, we meshed together well, and it was just a successful time, I guess, a successful encounter, positive encounter. So generally when people kind of go through your social media, it adds a level of positivity and understanding when it comes to your reputation. People will see you as more balanced and harmonious. And also, I think they see the patience in you, as well as what I was saying before, as well as they see a diverse version of interests. Like, they know that you are involved in different areas. You may be blending various different ideas, like with the examples I gave before, or even just going to various different events. Like if you vlogged, you might be going to a cowboy rodeo show, and then maybe you're going to a fashion show, and then next week you are going to a nail salon to get your nails done. Like, it's just showing various different interests. The Eight of Wands also can represent speed as well as communication. So maybe they feel like, oh, you post a lot. You're very communicative. You're very on top of things. You're someone who's highly involved when it comes to social media. You're someone who is active in that realm. Maybe you comment a lot. Maybe you create your own content. I mean, this would probably be more for if you create your own content. I mean, unless you have some very, like, you're everywhere with your comments, you know what I mean? But I don't know how someone's managing to track all your comments and stuff. But just very communicative is the message that I'm getting. It, like, social media definitely can rapidly help change your reputation. But it's like helping it for the better, as I see. Like, it's adding, people want to talk to you about it. People want to engage more with you. And it's even possible that you are achieving more opportunities because of your social media and how you're being perceived. People can see that you are more open to new experiences, that you're someone who's very innovative, new, different. You have your own perspective on how you go about things. That there's a layer of, I don't know, maybe you have a good amount of followers, but there's a layer of success when it comes to your engagement through social media. Or, you know, maybe you have made money through social media in some sense, or people can view you as more goal oriented. Another thing with the Fool is that there's a sense of authenticity as well as ingenuity. If I'm trying to say that right, I think I'm saying that right, yeah. And it's just very unfiltered. That's where you come across. There's like this Eight of Wands energy in the Fool is like, I'm just going to say what's on my mind. I'm just going to say what I'm thinking. I'm going to speak from the heart. I'm going to just throw this message out there and see who catches it. And also, people, maybe you travel a lot, or maybe you show your travels, because the Eight of Wands is a travel card, the Fool's a travel card, the Chariot's a travel card, Temperance is next, it connects to Sagittarius, which connects to the ninth, rules the ninth house, which has to do with traveling. We literally have 4 cards to do with traveling. So maybe your social media shows just how diverse and well-traveled you are. And so people can start to see that with you. They're starting to have a deeper understanding of just how maybe worldly or experienced or knowledgeable you are through your experiences through travel. How dynamic you are when it comes to investing in other cultures. How willing and adaptable you are, how open and adaptable you are when it comes to new experiences. And also, it shows that you're a risk taker. You're someone who really puts themselves out there. The Fool is so vulnerable. but it's a good thing, because the Chariot shows that you may be vulnerable, but you're there to protect yourself and to make sure that whatever it is that you get out of, you know, your relationship to social media, that you are gaining something, gaining what you want. Gaining what you want. If you want the attention, you're gaining the attention. If you want, you know, maybe resources to help sustain your income, you're getting that. If you want to make this your life-term goal, you're getting that. If you just want to talk to people, make friends, hang out, whatever that case may be, you're getting that. And people see that you're getting that. It shows traction. It also shows growth. So I don't know if it's growth particularly within your personality, or if it's giving you just like growth in general when it comes to achieving your goals or career goals or whatever goals that you may personally have, like the things I just listed. It's adding that layer to your reputation. People are seeing that you're growing. People are seeing so many different sides of you. And that's why I love that we pulled this Astrology card. Because Astrology is a card that connects to transformation. There's several nakshatras that do it, but Astrology is one of them. And I follow plenty of Astrology people. One of my favorites has undergone weight loss and gastric bypass surgery. Another favorite of mine who's Astrology just switched her image for the 15th billion time, which I love. I love that she does that. And she's changing her hair color. She's changing her style. Like, very much transformative type of energy. It doesn't only have to be about appearance. It can be about personal growth as well, which I'm sure it is. And it's interesting that the Chariot rules Cancer in Western astrology in this one, but in Vedic and Astrology, it's also found in the sign of Cancer. So there is this very intimate emotional element when it comes to your character. And I guess what I'm trying to say, I lost my train of thought a little bit, but what I was going to go into that, we see a transformative nature, and we can also see emotional growth with you. People see how maybe in the past you might have said some things that may have been, you know, a little bit too unfiltered, right? With the Eight of Wands and the Fool, sometimes things can be too unfiltered. Sometimes we don't put a cap on our thoughts. Sometimes we say things without thinking. It happens, right? We learn and we grow. And the cards are showing that growth. And it's also showing a sense of self-awareness. Because whenever I see Astrology people, they go through a lot of things in life that forces them to be self-reflective and become more self-aware. It's probably, the Mercury ruled nakshatras are probably the most emotionally intelligent nakshatra placements. So people see a level of emotional intelligence when it comes to your character. And they also see an element of vulnerability. Don't get me wrong. When it comes to the Chariot and Astrology coming together, more than likely, people are going to see that you're trying to put on a little bit of a front. But for the most part, they see you as somebody who is just, you know, a human being who can be open about their issues, who can be very genuine and talk about the things that they've gone through and their life, and just very open. The other thing that comes with Astrology is sometimes, and this may not be for all of you, sometimes there can be a little bit of an exaggeration of the truth. And I'm only mentioning that because we also have the Fool and the Eight of Wands. And, you know, the Fool likes to tell some jokes, likes to laugh. And so sometimes when we have the exaggeration of the truth, it could just be like, oh, they're just telling a story. They're telling some jokes. They take some elaborative measures. There's this one Astrology Olympian. I can't remember his name, but he went like viral in Brazil or something for like making up a story about a robbery. The truth was he actually did get robbed, but he kind of like exaggerated and told, you know, use some creative influence to his story, I'll say. And it kind of like made people very distrustful. But that's a very like Astrology thing, even Mercurial thing, to sort of exaggerate a story, to just, I guess they think it's fun. I'm not really sure. I haven't done a deep dive into Astrology. But sometimes you kind of get that energy with Mercurial people where they're kind of like telling a bunch of you know, not fully true things, you know, exaggerating a little bit. So maybe there's an element to your social media. One, you could just be somebody who tells stories. You could maybe do get ready meetings and just talk about your life. It could be something like that. Maybe you exaggerate things for jokes, or maybe you just make up a whole different life. Like maybe some of you guys are just making stuff up. I don't know. But there is an element of storytelling to it. And people see that when it comes to your social media, it shows your strength as a storyteller. It shows your strength as somebody who has strong communication skills. And that's something is very alluring and appealing to people because it can make you very funny. It can make you very engaging. It can make you very relatable and very captivating. And so people are perceiving you that way through your social media. And like I said, on the flip side, it can make people think, you know, you're deceptive or something along the lines of that. But let's hope that's not the case. Another thing, as I said, with the transformation, people could see that you're trying on a lot of different aesthetics. Maybe it could be, like I said before, maybe you lost weight, maybe you gained weight, maybe you gained muscle. Whatever the case may be, there can be something transformative about your appearance. And like I said, already mentioned the transformation when it comes to the personality and the self-awareness and growing emotionally and expressing yourself. Another thing that we see here, especially with the Chariot and Auslasia, as well as the Eight of Wands, and even the Fool, actually, is a sense of confidence. People see that the way you carry yourself can be very confident. So social media is making you or your reputation come across as somebody who's very confident within themselves. Somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who is focused, somebody who has done their research and who has educated and is very knowledgeable in a certain area, usually a specific area, especially if it's next to this Temperance card. Temperance card can be someone who's very focused on, it could be like 1 or 2 or 3 areas and has a specific knowledge base about that. Like for me, I'm a tarot reader, so I'm going to have a knowledge base when it comes to tarot reading, astrology. Those are probably my 2 main knowledge bases that I do a lot of research on. So that might be something about with your reputation. Maybe you're somebody who does hair. And so now your specific knowledge base is known through social media about hair. So people are associating your reputation with, you know, the guy or the girl who does hair. Or the guy or the girl who does tarot reading. The guy or the girl who does fashion or something along the lines of that. But it gives you a specialized image, a very specific image. It's obviously, it may even be more than one thing because like I said, the Eight of Wands is a lot of different things, but Temperance is very focused. So it may, I'm guessing it's at least 2 or 3 things that is the specialized focused with the Eight of Wands, okay? It's got to at least be 2 or 3. It has to be, you know, because the Eight of Wands is everywhere and it wants to spread. So maybe you have a specialized focus of vlogs, hair, and relationships. I don't know. But they're like, this person is known for these 3 things. And now we see that as part of your reputation. But one thing we know for sure is that social media has a major impact on how you are perceived because we have all these major arcana as well as Auslasia's natural transformative energy. Did I already mention the wit? So definitely it's interesting because I feel like there's this innocent, carefree element to you, but then we also have somebody who has a strong mind and a strong wit and a strong intellect. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe through different platforms you come across different ways. Maybe in certain content you come across different ways. But whatever the case may be, that is the image. Because the Fool and Auslasia is kind of like very interesting. Maybe at first people perceive you to be not as sharp. I don't know. Or just more carefree or more in your head. More like, you know, vibes and everything. And then as they get deeper into your content, they recognize that you're highly intelligent when it comes to this information here. And then also, I think ultimately what the cards are saying is that you're able to connect deeply with others, but you're also able to safeguard your own vulnerabilities. You know, you're open, but you're not too open, and you are protective of the things that could possibly hurt you. You're out for, your confidence shows through, whether it's real or not, doesn't really matter. And people definitely see you as somebody who can be a little bit more of a romantic. definitely questioning, especially when it comes to, you know, where people are getting ideas from. Why are people thinking this way? As I mentioned, some people find you funny. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing. Observant. And, you know, sometimes maybe even a little controversial. I'm going to throw it out there. You know, every astrology person I've seen on social media has a little element of controversy to it. So it's good because it creates a little buzz. But there's definitely that. And then also an element of sexuality coming through. That's just astrology's nature. I don't know. Well, sometimes it depends on what nakshatras they're interacting with. Okay? But that's a whole story for another day. But generally, they will put on a very, like, sexualized image. You know, think of, like, Lucy Liu, Charlie's Angel. And when she was, like, that teacher with the whip, I think, in one of the scenes. And I've seen a lot of astrology people do, like, the office siren look. I've seen them also do, like, the schoolgirl look. What's that movie that stars, like, Megan Good, and then there's another famous astrology woman, and they're, like, dressed as, like, schoolgirls or something like that. I don't know why that's a particular astrology look. But they'll have on, like, these kind of, like, stereotypical, this is supposed to be a controversial but almost, you know, sexual look thing. I don't know. But I've just seen that look. I'm not saying I particularly think that's great, but I'm just saying that's a look I've seen, okay? I'm only telling you what I've observed in terms of that. So different costumes, I guess, but they're specific costumes. I don't know why that is. They chose those certain costumes. I think it's probably just a reflection of our media, which honestly is so disturbing sometimes. So I'm getting off track. I'm getting off track. I'm rambling. Essentially, there's an element of sexuality when it comes to your social media that is being highlighted and shown through and your reputation. So overall, social media has a positive impact of your reputation. It adds dynamic to your character. It makes you come across multifaceted. And it explores elements of your personality that people may not be completely familiar with. Especially there's an element of mysteriousness when it comes to astrology. Okay? And that's what I have for you, pal number 4. And I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 5. Let's get started on how social media affects your reputation. So, we have the 6 of Wands, Strength card, Page of Swords, Queen of Cups, and Uttara Bhadrapada. Alright, so technical difficulties on my end. As I was saying, we have a great reading off the bat. We have the 6 of Wands, Strength, Page of Swords, Queen of Cups, and Uttara Bhadrapada. This is amazing because we show how social media is actually really beneficial towards you and your reputation. It looks like it gives a level of admiration for you that, you know, maybe you wouldn't have had without it. Maybe you would have, but it definitely adds, you know, some bonus points to it. People feel like your social media really helps you shine and stand out, and people think that you come across very confident, like you know what you're doing, you are somebody who believes in themselves, you're someone who can be very knowledgeable, you know, because the Strength card is connected to Leo, and that's connected to the 5th house, which is like education along those lines, things along like that. So I don't know, maybe your social media talks about you being a student in some sense of the word, or it could be, you know, hobbies and free times along the things like that. Things that you creatively express yourself. Like if you were a stand-up comedian, this would be like posting your comic stand-ups or jokes or something along the lines of that, or you tackling hecklers, something like that. But it shows that people see that, they can see that your interest more. They can see your hobbies more, or they could see, you know, more of your educational background, and maybe you're doing like the day of the life of a medical engineering student or something along the lines of that. But people get to know more about like either your school or your hobbies through your social media. And like I said, people are impressed. It gives like an element of like, oh, wow. Like you have this wow factor. With the Page of Swords, it's definitely a card of communication, but communication's definitely more so on the side of like here I'm talking about books, I'm talking about movies, I'm talking about shows, I'm talking about, you know, the latest news story. The Page of Swords is going to keep it trendy, it's going to keep it relevant, and it's not going to go too deep. Okay, so if you're doing videos, either you're not going super, super deep. If you are, you know, that's interesting because the cards aren't picking up on it. But if you are going super deep, the cards aren't really picking up on it, like I said. And it's really more so people think that your social media is doing like quick commentary. Maybe you're doing a lot of like reels. Maybe you're doing like a lot of like Instagram posts, like short stories along that. You're giving people a little blip of your life. You're like, oh, look at this cool restaurant I went to. Look at this food item. Look at this event I went to. Like a little quick blurb or something like that. Like you're not giving the people a little too much. You're holding back. You're giving that strength card energy. You're like, okay, I'm gonna just give y'all a little something to look at. And people are like, oh, okay, look at that nice place you're at. Look at that food you're eating. Look at that new shirt you just bought. Like, it's nice. People like it. They're enjoying it. They're they're having a good time. It's fun for people to look at it. They maybe even aspirational in some sense, because the Six of Wands represents like a prize, like something that people want. I often get the Six of Wands to represent like complementary energy. So if I say, okay, what kind of day is it going to be? And I get Six of Wands, I'm like, okay, a lot of people are like giving compliments to me or something along the lines of that. And it can be like some people can be complimenting because they want, you know, the same things that you have. They're like, oh, I really like that bag. And because they want a bag like that, they think it's a good bag. They're like, where'd you get it? Oh, I wish I had a bag like that. They may be thinking something like that, or maybe they even say it out loud. So something about your social media, people are like, oh, that's aspiration. I want something like that. I want to experience something like that. I want to do something like that. I want to go to that place. I want a lifestyle like that. It's something along the lines of that. Or I wish I had that skill set. I wish I had that talent. Maybe you're somebody who's singing on social media. You're dancing on social media. And somebody's like, oh, I wish I could dance like that. Oh, this person's dance is impressive. Like, look at them hit the splits, etc. Like, you know what I mean? But there's some talent that you may be showcasing through social media, which people like and they find enjoyable. When it comes to the Queen of Cups with the Page of Swords, you are communicating your feelings and your thoughts in a very mature and nurturing way. You come off as somebody who is going to be very respectful for others, who's very careful about what they say and very strategic about what they say. And more than likely, you're approaching things in a very politically correct manner, in a very harmonious manner is what I'm trying to say. It shows that you're somebody who, you're not out to do any harm. You want to uplift people, especially with this Six of Wands being very like celebratory energy. It shows that you're somebody who wants to ensure that you are remaining authentic without being, you know, I guess the only word I can think of right now is toxic, right? Your energy can be very like healing, very therapeutic, very much so kind, upfront, sweet, genuine. That's the energy that we're getting from you. Very supportive energy through social media. So maybe people feel like, oh, this person is in tune with other people's posts. You're liking people back. You're commenting. You're being supportive. You're saying nice things. You're uplifting other people. You are trying to look at things from their perspective, because the Queen of Cups has that ability to be, what's the word for it? I'm going to say reflective, and the ability to put herself in other people's shoes. she's able to differentiate, and thus you don't come across as somebody who could be hot-headed or something along the lines of that. There's definitely an emotional depth when it comes to your social media, and I think that really attracts followers to you and really helps to stimulate and engage your audience. So it's bringing an element of sensitivity to you, a sense of vulnerability to you, which is great because we have this card, this nakshatra, Uttara Bhadrapada, which is all, well, not all about, but a level and element to Uttara Bhadrapada that I've noticed has to do with being very open and very vulnerable. And that's not me, in my opinion. Literally, I will go to videos of people under Uttara Bhadrapada, and that is something that they will say. Now, don't get me wrong. It takes them a minute to get there. Quite often, Uttara Bhadrapada is a Saturnian ruled nakshatra, so they can be very guarded at first. But as soon as they open up, people are like, oh my gosh, this person is so human. They're so genuine. They're so sweet. They're so open. That is generally the comments that I see under it. And not only that, but there's something about your presence. Like, social media is affecting your reputation in a way that it's making you very alluring. Especially, like, I don't know if you're somebody who just like directly stares into the camera, or maybe you show your face a lot on camera. Not everyone does that. You know, I don't have to show my face on camera. I can if I want to. But depending on, you know, how you present yourself on social media, you may or may not show your face. But anyway, if you do show your face on camera, people will find that like your eye contact can be very like, it brings them in. It's like this alluring magnetic vibe. So people may be staring a lot at your eye shape, you know, how you look into the camera. They may feel like, oh my gosh, this person's looking right at me. This person, it makes me feel like, oh my God, I have to pay attention to what they're saying. It seems so important. And I love how you can even see on this card, we have the word empathy here, which kind of goes back into how you're coming across on social media. Not only do people see that you yourself are a very empathetic person, and that's adding this layer to your reputation, but people are now empathizing with you. They're now making this emotional connection with you. They're having this deep bond with you. And it's interesting because I've seen, I think four instances when it comes to Uttara Bhadrapada, like in the media, when it comes to like almost stardom, fan obsession, etc. like that. You know that movie, what is it, like Swarm, starring Dominique Fishburne, son of Uttara Bhadrapada, where she plays like this obsessed fan. There's this strange element when it comes to Uttara Bhadrapada that brings about deep obsession and the deep need to make connection with others. And it may not just be, it's not even just, you know, them being obsessive, but also other people may be more obsessive with them. Now, that's not to say that you are attracting that energy or you're like that. The point I'm trying to make is people may feel like they're in this like parasocial relationship with you because they're connecting with you on such a deep emotional plane. And that's something that I want to throw out there. It may rise to that level of obsession. It may not. But they're definitely making an emotional connection with you because of your social media. People are resonating with what you have to do, what you're saying, or whatever you're putting out there. They feel like, oh yeah, I can relate to this. I connect to this. This is something that I completely understand. Not only that, but Uttara Bhadrapada is known for being very like calm, composed, not all the time though. But like they're known for that, and they're known for being very honest and upfront. You know, maybe sometimes too honest, sometimes people say. And I think that's something that people will see about your character, that you're generally going to be an honest person. Page of Swords. Swords tend to be very direct and honest, with some level of like I said, with some level of tact, obviously, with the Strength card here. Strength card is definitely going to be you being patient, holding back, not giving people, you know, not reacting to every little thing, not being enticed or triggered by other people, looking at things from a higher perspective. So you are honest, but at the same time, you're not going to react without thinking. And people can see that. There's also this element of compassion. Like people, your social media makes people see you as a more compassionate person. And people feel like you embody leadership qualities through your social media. People can see you more as a leader because of your social media. You come across very like more independent, more of a free thinker, someone who can, you know, manage to do things on their own, someone who's self-sufficient, someone who's strong, and someone who is able to build confidence in other people. And then you yourself, people see that inner confidence within you because of this. We have literally, I think 4 cards represent leadership. Uttara Bhajapata has to do with leadership. Queen of Cups has to do with leadership. 6 of Wands has to do with leadership. And then Strength card can also have to do with leadership as well. Especially the fact since it's connected to Leo. All in all, I think people find you to be very like courageous. Courageous for putting yourself out there. They see you as someone who carries himself with an element of respectability. Someone who's interested in leveling up and bettering themselves, like a dedication to personal growth. When we have the Strength card here in the Queen of Cups, that's dedication to emotional growth as well. Dedication to your education, your hobbies, achieving your goals. Always reaching for bigger and better, especially with Uttara Bhajapata there. It's always about how can I improve myself? How can I get to that next level? That's why you'll find a lot of Uttara Bhajapata people being very self-critical of themselves or even being very anxious because they kind of want to almost reach this level of perfectionism sometimes. Not all the time, sometimes. But very motivational, very much like, how can I be the best possible person I can be? You know, how can I be the best version of myself? And I think that's what people are seeing you present. They're seeing you present the best version of yourself. And they're like, I like this version. I like that you're trying to be exactly who you want to be. I like that you are encouraging others or even yourself and others to embrace your strengths and to work on your weaknesses. I like that you acknowledge your flaws, but you try to grow and build upon them. I like that you're supportive towards other people. It's a lot of praise coming your way from most people. Now, I'm not saying you don't have any haters, but for the most part, people are seeing your social media as a good thing because it only shows that you're someone who is not afraid to be brave. Is not afraid to show compassion towards other people. Is not afraid to put their voice out there. And no, you're probably not going to engage in a lot of nonsense or things like that, or people who are going to be antagonistic or who's going to rage bait or something along the lines of that. People see you as carrying yourself with an element of class or even an element of luxury. Somebody who can give off this regal vibe. That is what I'm getting from you. Whether, you know, it doesn't matter what your gender is, age, whatever, but people get an element of regalness to you. And I love that people, the last thing I'm going to see is people see that resilience. So that means they see your struggle. With Strength card here, 100% they can see the things that you've gone through, or maybe you've even just talked about them, especially with this Page of Swords here. You've probably mentioned some things that you've gone through, and people are like very engaged by the fact that you've gone through these situations and that they've made you grow emotionally and that they've made you strong, especially with Uttara Bhadrapada. You can even see on the card the latter happy feet, which means through my studies of Uttara Bhadrapada, the latter happy feet connects with the fact that they're going to go through a lot of situations in life before they have to get to where they need to go. It's about a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of resilience in order to achieve their goals. There's going to be a lot of setbacks. There's going to be a lot of dramatic moments. There's going to be a lot of issues. You know, that's why it's the latter happy feet, but the feet are happy ultimately in the end. Yeah, for sure. It's like, oh, obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, trying to, you know, make sure that you are in line with your purpose and where you need to go. Because you're really going to have to fight. And people see that you're fighting. They see that you're making sure you're going through all of this so that you can get exactly what you deserve or the things that you want, at least. And honestly, it makes people feel proud. So it makes people feel like, wow, this person's really incredible that they've gone through this. They think you're a great person. So your social media has this element of depth to you that makes people feel like you're a strong individual and you're someone who is genuine and kind and open and caring. And that you look out for other people. And that you take the time to really think about your actions and how your words affect people. As I said, it shows how your actions and words affect people and brings an element of respect. And that's what I have for you, pal number 5. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Au revoir.